29, verse 8, you know, this was about 2 weeks ago, we talked about this, talked about the prophecy of Judah, and then 12, this was the last where we ended, but Judah's health, I was talking about his health, was very healthy. The next verse, 13 through 21, Jacob's prophecy. You know, all the various brothers, their name became the tribes of Israel, 12. But in total there was 13. Zebulun, yes, there's 12 brothers, Zebulun. No, you don't hear much about them.
Zebulun.
Jacob, it's a prophecy. So Zebulun will settle by the seashore and will be a harbor or a place for ships, for trading. His borders will go as far or extended to Sidon. You know, when I was looking at this, there's many old names that are not there anymore. I was trying to figure out exactly where this was. But regardless, it's not really, I think this is near the river. Zebulun, which is near the Mediterranean Sea. There's a river that brings it into Zebulun. So it seems like it's not, you don't, it's not very clear where this area is. There's not a lot of information given. It's very interesting. There was a valley. There's a valley named that. That's what you were looking. Or there was a big war. I don't know. You talking about when Christ comes again? So these are the different tribes. So Moses said about this, the tribes of Zebulun and Issachar. So Moses said about the tribes of Zebulun and Issachar, may the people of Zebulun prosper in their travels. You know, ships, you know, for trading. The business is that kind of business. And it made the people of Issachar prosper at home in their tents. They were farmers. They took care of herds. That was their profession. That's the reason why it says at home in their tents. So verse 14 says, Issachar is a sturdy or strong donkey resting between two saddle packs. You know what saddle packs are? They're bags that you put on the donkey. It's like two saddle packs, one on each side. Maybe have things, seems like Issachar is blessed. They work hard and God gives them blessings. Maybe animals, vegetables, things that they can sell. But saddlebags, really has a lot of different interpretations or translations. Another verse I'll show you. Sheepfolds. It means like fence areas for sheep. Is that what it means? Bags on top of saddlebags on a donkey, or sheepfolds, or Phoenicia on one side and that of Samaria on the other. Syria, Phoenicia. Like agriculture took off there. The land was rich. Animals, herds. Is that what that means? Phoenicia on one side and that of Samaria on the other. People believe that it really means sheepfolds or saddlebags. This country over there, these two, maybe not what it's referring to. So the tribe it was good land, fertile land. And it says when he sees how good the countryside is and how pleasant the land, he will bend his shoulder to the load and submit himself to hard labor. Issachar. This is the tribe of Issachar. So they had fertile land. And then the third one, Dan will govern his people like any other tribe in Israel. So Dan, descendants, one of the famous descendants, himself was a judge for 20 years. Do y'all know who? Maybe you can't guess. Samson. Remember the man with the long hair? And he would kill the Philistines? Yes, Samson was from the tribe of Dan. And in those days, a man named Manoah from the tribe of Dan lived in the town of Zorah. His wife was unable to become pregnant and they had no children. Then to chapter 15 from 13, this is talking about Samson's birth. Samson judged Israel for 20 years during this period when the Philistines dominated or controlled the land. He was a judge for 20 years. So Samson was from the tribe of Dan. So Dan were to govern the people well. But Dan did not follow God's will. At first they did, but then they did not. They knew that the land that Moses had, the promised land, they parceled out to different tribes, and Dan was not satisfied. They wanted it all, so they caused a lot of problems. So back to 49 verse 17, Dan will be a snake besides the road, a poisonous viper along the path that bites the horse's hooves. So the rider is thrown off. But what it is talking about, a snake will cause chaos. And that was what Dan did. The tribe of Dan caused chaos with the other tribes. But there's really not much detail on this. Yeah, you do find stories about the Dan tribe capturing land or confiscating it. And in Revelation 7, it says, "And I heard how many were marked and sealed of God. 144,000 were sealed, all the tribes of Israel." So there's a list here. There's no listing for Dan. Dan is gone because Dan was rebellious. They confiscated the land, they didn't trust God, they didn't do what God wanted them to, so Dan is gone. So Levi, I'm sorry, say it again. For Levi, yes, they do show up or appear. Judah, Joseph. It's really Joseph's two sons. I'm sorry, Manasseh. Sorry, I missed all that spelling. The brother, Ephraim, Joseph. $12,000 people. Joseph, his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Dan is gone. Ephraim is included in the Joseph. We're talking about Dan. Dan's been eliminated. Okay, we'll discuss all this later. It's a lot of information here, so we can all get confused because there's different, the names get changed around. There's a long history with all that. Okay. So now read Jacob's prophecy. It says, "I trust in you for salvation, O Lord." This is Jacob. "I trust in you for salvation, O Lord." So Jacob knew something about Jesus coming. He knew that a Savior would be provided. Gad is another tribe, will be attacked by marauding bands. They'll destroy them, but they will attack them when they retreat. So Gad, their blessing was that they had warriors. They were good. Later you'll find that King David, there weren't many men with him. A lot of them had left, but Gad stayed with David. They were strong warriors for David. It says in 1 Chronicles, some brave, experienced warriors from the tribe of Gad. Later you'll see this. They were good soldiers. Also defected to David while he was in the stronghold. It's like a fortress in the wilderness. And they were experts with both shield and spear. And as fierce as a lion and as swift as a deer on the mountains. So if you've seen a deer run quickly, they're very fast. Same as the soldiers of Gad. So, it's like we remember Jacob, had confidence in the Lord and trusted him for salvation, just as we trust the Lord for salvation. No matter we face sin, temptation, we still have victory. We still have victory. We are conquerors through Christ. So Romans 8, can anything separate us from Christ's love? No. Does it mean he no longer loves us if we have trouble or calamity or are persecuted, hungry, or destitute, or in danger, or threatened with death? There's a lot more listed here. But then no, despite all these things, overwhelming victory is ours through Christ Jesus. So that should really encourage us. Like the gentleman who wrote the song, "It Is Well With My Soul." He knew he already had victory, and he had peace. He looked forward to Jesus' return, and how God would avenge and judge on his return and save his people. And that father believed that, regardless of his problems he faced. Through loss, hunger, danger, death. So Asher, and Asher is located here, will dine on rich foods and produce foods fit for a king. Remember, this area was close to the sea. Fishing, seafood, livestock. They would produce that was good for a king. That was their business. Next, Naphtali. is like a doe. Set free, that bears beautiful fawns. So what is this talking about? You know, talking about deer, how they prance. That's what this is talking about. They're quick. Make good soldiers. But this tribe starts to get afraid. They don't want to go into the promised land. Hold on to that thought. And of Natalia, he said, "Oh, Natalia, sated with favor and full of blessings of the Lord, possesses the lake in the south." They'd be quick for war, like almost, you remember the Minutemen, the soldiers, Paul Revere's, you know, the British are coming. Then later, they became afraid and didn't depend on the Lord. So this is what happened. Natalia did not drive out the inhabitants, or those who lived in Beth-Shemesh, or the inhabitants of Bethanath. So they lived among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. So they became like engrossed in a secular society. They just accepted it and lived among them. This is what we learned from them today. Zebulun, blessings to be had in living close to nature and practicing valor and loyalty. Bravery, warriors being involved in trade. And then Issachar, you know, saw the land, those who submit their work reap hard benefits from their labor. We have to work to get the benefit. And Dan, we easily compromise our faith when we follow our will and not God's will. It's weak faith. That was Dan. Gad, we will reap the rewards of steadfastly obeying God. The tribe also teaches us to look beyond the fulfillment of our own needs and help others with their own goals. Reap. Reap means to earn. To gather. Asher says, many Christians today are richly blessed and yet often toggle between doing what they know they should instead of doing what they want. You know, I have a lot of things. They become rich knowing that they should do something for the Lord, but then they focus on their own materialistic or materialism. technology, cars, economy, money, you know, we get distracted on our, what we think is our driving. Natalia, his human nature is often contradictory. First, we have moments of courage and cowardice. And then we want to obey, and then we disregard. We flounder back and forth.